Good evening, everybody. It is currently, if you look on my screen, 3:17 in the evening on the 22nd of November. This is such a wonderful time to be doing this for you. But today, I'm going to be going over and giving a demonstration and/or just a complete video on how we actually create our end elevations. And this, which you may see by the actual length of the video, is extraordinarily simple. So what I did is I started on, and I am starting on, the same exact document which I used for my previous milestone submissions, milestones 7 and 8. Your first step is going to be performing a save as, and I'm going to save this as my last name, milestone 9 or M9 end elevations.dwg, so I can accept it for submissions. Perfect. The actual, the first step, realistically, I'm gonna move each of, honestly, I'm trying to remember exactly how I want to do this, and I'm remembering now. It takes a little bit to get fully back into the swing of things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my section drawing, and I'm going to select it. I'm going to make sure my keyboard capture is on so you can see. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to perform a copy command. And I'm just going to copy this down here. Notice, not necessarily any reason for the left or the right. However, what I will do is I'm going to grab a ray command and go from here and here. Since I used this for my elevations before, I have that layer still. And I'm going to start with, excuse me, the east elevation. So what I would like to do is I'm just going to move my foundation plan up, move my regular floor plan up, and my east elevation is going to be this face of my building. So I'm going to rotate it like so. Very similar to the rotation that you used for your drawing of this section. And line up your walls. Like so. That's good. Next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make modifications to what's actually drawn here. Some quite substantial ones have to be done. What I'm actually going to do to start is I'm going to get rid of all of these elevation markers, except for this guy. I'm going to get rid of them all, and I'm going to leave this one line so that when I grab my elevation markers from what I created before, I can copy it from that same line position into that same location, and I know that these are lined up, but my text is scaled properly. Cool. Next up is I'm going to remove my roofing patch, or my roofing, like my shingles. I'm going to remove anything that denotes the thickness. I'm going to leave this line down here. We'll see in a second why. Realistically, the first steps of what you're doing is you're removing a lot of junk. Honestly, yeah, you're removing a lot of junk. You're going to leave this exterior wall line. Get rid of all this. I'm going to remove both of them on this side because I already have that line on there. I accidentally erased the wall. So I'll go back and undo that. And I'm going to pause it, and I'll come back once this is revised. Well, okay. I keep forgetting that. I don't know what I did to my recording software, but it doesn't let me pause. So I'm just going to go through and delete everything that needs to be deleted, which there is a good amount. This is a little bit tedious, but it is fine. I'm even going to remove that hatch for now. Get rid of all this. Get rid of all this. Get rid of all this. And this. And that. Okay. What I actually do want to do is I want to just use the line from this guy here. It's just going to make more sense for this. In reality, it's a little frustrating that I have to do that, but with the way that this section is being called out to be drawn, or in this section was drawn, everything like that, this will be more accurate. So we kind of have to remove all this. I'm going to get rid of all the hatching down here. Boom, boom. I'm going to remove this and this. Even that guy. Hatch in here. My ridge insulation. I'll even remove the exterior line. Doing really good so far. I'm going to remove my French drain. I may even go as far as removing all of this and this. Do the exact same on the other side. And I may even just remove that one because I can just use an extend command to bring these over. Just to show you what I mean. And I'm going to remove that guy there. I'm then going to trim. Erase. Am I missing a line here? Is that like a trick on my eyes? Probably a trick on my eyes. Okay. Get rid of all this too. Alright, this is a very clean drawing, so I have to do some cleanup. What I'm going to do is genuinely my first step is I'm just going to use my match properties command. And well, I don't even want to use that one. I'm going to use my roof layer or my roof line for everything roof related, which is all this. And then I'm going to grab this guy and bring it all the way to the other side. Again, I'm drawing this top guy, and I can make these changes as necessary. I don't even want to bring that all the way across. I'm just realizing. So what I will do is I'm going to do an offset. Is it a 1x10 or is it a 10 inch? A 1x10. So I'm going to offset by 9.25. Offset this for the rake board on the eaves. Just like so. And bang, bang, boom. Extend these two lines up. Set these lines to be wall. In a second, I'm actually going to move this guy down and this guy down. I will also bring this line all the way across. I can do the same thing over here. Wonderful. Grab these two lines, make sure that these are an A elevation wall. Use a trim command or rather an extend command to bring that all over. This needs to be A elevation foundation. Oops. There we go. I found it. You can see right down here. And we're making phenomenal progress. Like, look, this is the easiest. These are the easiest ones by far. By far. The next step is I need to show this guy, which I should have left on from when I was removing my elements. But do not fret. What I can just do is I can grab the bottom, or rather, whatever you can want to call it, the top of my foundation. Perform a copy command from a known point, which is going to be the ridge of my roof. Paste it right here. And now this all the way across is where my my siding ends. Use some match properties and get this all cleaned up. Next up on my agenda here, I have 3 windows plus 1 on the bottom down here and a door. What I'll do, I want to do my windows first. I'm going to rotate my foundation. Perform a ray to align. Of course, it did that. I'm a ray to align my foundation. I'm gonna do a ray. I'm gonna do from both sides. You don't have to, and I'll show you why. And now I know I need to put a window there. However, I already created a bunch of them, so I may as well just grab one of these, copy it, and paste it in, and I'm done with it. Isn't that such a time save? Wonderful. Sorry, cracking my knuckles. Next thing is next. I know this is the height of my finished floor. I have a call out for that, in fact. I'm going to draw a line straight over. There's going to be a reference. I'm going to do an offset of 6 feet, 8 inches up. This will be the top of my door and my windows. So what I want to do is I'm going to go... Do I have any A windows on this side? Okay, I don't have any windows that I've created yet. But I have ones that are similar. So I'm going to use D. I got C. And also C. And I also have a door here. So I'm giving myself the notes. I'm going to start with D because that'll be the easiest transition. My D window, it is going to be a height of 4 feet 0 and 7/8. 4 feet 0 and 7/8. So I'm going to grab a window that I've created before. A known snapping point, like so. Draw a line down 4 feet 4 feet 7/8. My windows will only be this tall, so I'm actually going to just delete my cross hatching in here. Cross lining. Move this. Erase, trim and extend. Stretch. I'm going to stretch all this upwards. So, I'll stretch all of this leftwards as well. Now this window is sized perfectly. All I need to do is I need to grab a line down the center, or rather I'm going to make this current. I'll do it in a second. I'm going to draw a line down the center, offset by 1.5 inches, straight up, trim, line, and line. Finally, grab match properties and just make sure that this is all on the proper layer. Now, there are 2 of these in there right next to each other, and this can create some very interesting situations, as it did here. What we're going to do is we're going to connect the molding and the sill, and we'll just run with it. However, I'm literally just going to draw. I'm just going to copy this over, like such. Then trim all this out. I'll do an extend. Just double check. I'm gonna get rid of these 2 lines. I don't need them. I don't need these. I don't need that. Get rid of anything that's like overlapping or anything like that. It'll help with the continuity. And boom, I already have these 2 drawn. Already done. We are very dangerously close to being done with that. For my own sake, I'm just going to remove that, and I'm not going to put it back. No, we have to put it back, of course. Well, while I'm here, when in Rome, 5, 12, of course it's too small, 10, 24, like so, 12, 1.35. Match properties, make sure this is all in the annotation layer. Put it down. Cool. Next up, I have these two C windows. These guys. These are crankouts. These are casements. So these C windows, I know these are going to be 3 feet for 13/16. Wow. 3, 4, and 13/16. So I'm just going to do an offset. 3, 4, 13/16. Offset that down. What I will do is I'm just going to grab this window again because I already have it done and I didn't have to double it up. I'm going to copy it. Let me copy you, damn you. I'm going to copy it. There we go. I'm just going to paste it to one of them. I'm going to remove some of my stuff in here. I'll do my stretch first. Just like so. Cool. That window's sized properly and it's in place, but there is a thing that we actually need to do with it. And that is draw another panel on the inside and with that line type. So how do we do that? What I'm going to do is I'm going to offset, by an additional 1 inch personally. 1 inch feels good to me, but you can really, this again, if there's not a design for it, just estimate where dimensions not given. I'm going to draw a line down the center and offset 1 inch onto the left and to the right of that. Do match properties in here. Extend that line down, delete those. Extend, delete. I'm just going to grab a line, and again, I want to make sure that this is the center, goes down to this edge, center, boom, boom. I'm going to match the properties of this layer to this, and then I'm going to select them, and then I'm going to go to right here, under the match properties palette, right up here. I'm going to click on this guy that says by a layer with these like dots and dashes. And you're going to get all the options for the layer type. Now for this, you're going to want to use continuous or center. Now you may notice you don't actually see anything. I'm going to open up my properties palette. Let's try 2. Try 10. Let's try 0.5. 0.25. 0.125. Okay, 0.125 seemed to work. Then I'll take this guy, do a copy command, and just copy it straight to the other one. Right to right here. Awesome. Now the last thing we have is this last door, which I have the details for right here. I'm just gonna draw this. I know this is a 36-inch door by 6 feet 8. I'm gonna bring a line here that just has me move this up by 10 inches. 8, 10, offset 1, 9, 7/8, off 6. Is that 6 or 4? It's 4 off 6. Off 3, 1. Sorry, off 3, 1. And this should be 5 1/8, which it is. Perfect. I'm going to offset inwards to the left and to the right by 6, 3/8. Right. Then I'm gonna trim. Offset 1.25. And this is working out quite nicely. I do apologize, everybody. I do appear to be essentially falling asleep in the chair. However, we ball until we get this done because there's not much left to do. Part of the problem is that I'm silent talking to my microphone like it's gonna talk back to me. Anyway, that looks good. I'm gonna grab my door from the front of my house. Because I'm lazy, I'm just gonna grab the door from a known point and then place it on there. Call it a match properties from this to this, and then cool. Oh man. Hope everybody has a nice winter break, obviously, but also Thanksgiving. Just pray that you'll make it through this class and get ready for BIM in the future. So, good luck. Anyway, I got this door designed, and I'm just gonna grab it. And I'm gonna do a move command, and just gonna move it straight into place perfectly. What I will need to do is I'm going to do an offset of 3 around it. And I'm going to do an offset of... Oh, math is not mathing, huh? 1.25 or 1.5 rather. 1.5 inches. Boom. Match. Draw a line here, copy, paste, match properties to all these, lengthen delta 1 inch. Bang, 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 bang. Trivial. Draw a line here. I missed it. Match properties. Do all of these. Grab a line that goes across here on each of these 4. And then after this, what we're gonna do is I'm literally just gonna grab those hinges. They're not even hinges, they're whatever, they're a bracket of some kind, they're a mullion. And I'm just gonna mirror it to the other side, match properties, and then just door it up. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Next, I'm just gonna grab the stairs from my first guy. Grab this. Place this. Oh. Whatever, that works for now. With this in place, I'm gonna move it in by, let's just say, 14 inches to the left side. That's perfect. And the right side, trim, 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 extend, delete that. Trim as well, and most certainly welcome back to those of you who haven't joined. Already, welcome back. You may notice that it is a completely different day. It's 1:43 on, well, I guess it's technically the same day on 11/22. I basically fell asleep in my chair. I will have to cut the last video a little bit shorter from where I actually ended, but realistically, this is where we should be. The last thing we did in the previous portion, and I know I'm saying video, and I'm combining these both, and this is all one big timeline for us, but realistically, we're just going to continue as if nothing happened. So I just watched back that last video, and wow, was I saying some strange stuff, and I'm sure some of you will have comments for me when we come back. So yeah, let's just get right back into it. So the first thing I want to point out is I trimmed this line that extended over to here, which I didn't want to do that. So I'm just going to bring it all the way over and just trim it out here, because this line needs to be consistent with basically my top of foundation line, because of, if we're checking our section, our siding ends at the top of that foundation. That's where our siding is. Very similar to what we did up here. Now, the next thing I completely forgot to do is modify my, what is this called? Modify this guy right here. Now, the first thing I need to do, remember, this is a polyline, and I need it to be 8 inches, just like this guy. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to P-Edit. I'm going to select width, and I'm going to change it to be 8 inches. Now, you may notice this looks kind of weird, but these lines go to the center, which is accurate. I'm going to perform a move command and move it down 8. Sorry, not 8. I'm going to move it down 4 inches, that's half of 8. Now it looks good. I'm going to do a match properties on this guy here, because I want it to be the same line type. And now we're essentially caught up. I need to do my trim boards on either side, so I'm going to do that next. I'm going to do a offset of 6 inches, because remember, it is... Was it a 6-inch trim board? You can always just double check with your drawings before. Yep, 6-inch trim board. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim out the bottom, extend this up to the top, extend this up to the top, trim out the bottom. Now, a quirk about the roofing is it doesn't do this. It actually will connect in because we have our soffits. So I will even do something as simple as this, where I just make sure I have this kind of end piece. I can double check on my drawing, and this is what I want to see. This is how it needs to be. This is how it's going to be. Again, I'm using I'll do an extend, trim out this guy, then this guy, bring up a line, match properties, just like so. The last piece of overarching general geometry that we need is this cricket that sits here. I believe it's on the presentation what this actually is for. But it is, I can just explain it again because I didn't even review the presentation before doing this. However, this is basic stuff. This is essentially so that water doesn't pool up against your chimney and it'll run off. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put hatches in these different places. I'm going to use a hatch command and just place a hatch fully within this. I'm going to do a hatch command, place it fully within that. And then a third and final hatch command, place it within that. I'm going to use a match properties and match the properties of my siding hatch from before. I'm going to do the roofing hatch. And I'll also do my chimney, the brick. Next thing I need to do is I need to select this, and I need to do a set origin, which is right up here. And I like to do it from like the bottom left corner, because remember, you need this to be 5 inches from the bottom. Doesn't matter how high I get. The chimney's technically fine, because we don't see the bottom course, so this is accurate. So this is all good. Let's take a sip of my beverage. Good place to save. Next thing I'm going to do from here is I'm going to put my annotations on here. Now there's not much. It's going to be a 1x10 rake board, cricket, this, clapboard siding, provide window wells as required, 6-inch trim board. All this is very easy. Most of this I already have. Clapboard siding, 6-inch trim. I'm not doing this, I don't have this, I don't have this. I do have this dimension, and I do have this guy here. I'm literally just going to copy these down. Then I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to place it on somewhere like this. I'm going to copy this guy here, and I'll just do exactly like so. Place that. I need to do a dimension. I'll just do it's a 1 foot. Wonderful. Tired me really did this properly. I'm going to offset this by 0.75 because we want this to end up reading as a 1 foot extension. Extend it up, trim this out, and bring this in. I'm certain the other side is going to be the same way. I'll just check it. It's not going to be the final placement of it. Yeah. I'm going to offset it by 3/4. Extend, trim. I'm going to use a match properties so that this is on the correct layer. Now, what else do I need? I think it's a 1x10 rake board, so I'm going to go to my annotate tab. Well, first, I'm actually going to change myself to be utilizing my elevation dimensions layer. Annotation, multi-layer, just like so. 1x10 rake board. I'll just verify. Clapboard siding, section trim. Okay, I need Cricut. Perfect. I'll literally just copy this. Change the text. Cool. And this is my east elevation done. Now, wouldn't you know it, you're basically done with the west elevation as well. All you're going to need to do is I'm going to grab all of my geometry. I'm not going to grab my text here. But all of this, I'm going to perform a mirror command. Make sure I have my ortho drafting on. I'm going to remove my siding. Remove this. My windows. And my door. I'm going to get rid of my steps and this line because I'll just extend this over. Because one concept in AutoCAD that we want to keep in mind is where we can avoid it, we do not want to have a ton of lines which are like this, where you have two individual line segments making up one thing. You want it to be a whole drawing. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at my drawings up here. And I have to rotate these so that I am looking at not the kitchen face like this guy is, but the opposite side. So I need to rotate this in such a way that it is like this. Perfect. If you want to think of it in a certain way, your north should be pointing this way, and or your stairs should be on the top of this guy. I'm just going to do a ray command just so I can line it up later. I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. Rotate. Use the rays, which I already made. And line it up. Lined. I'm going to grab my drawing. Use a move command. And then just move it into place. Perfect. Next I want to just do my windows in the base. Again, I know all of my windows are the same, so I'm just going to do the left corner. There we go. Ray commands. This window's close, but not quite. Okay. Here's another thing about this previous guy. I drew this window to fit in the other section perfectly. It won't either because I made that mistake. This shouldn't happen for you, but if it does, just know, just draw a line across, offset this up by 4 inches. I'll bring it to the end. Use an extend command to bring that down. I'm going to bring this line over and do the exact same thing. Fixing the mistake I made earlier. That's resolved. Now I can just move my window into place. Copy it. The other side. Like so. Windows are all fine and dandy. Looks accurate. Don't even need the foundation plan anymore because I have everything else sorted that I would need to do. You also may have noticed I didn't remove the hatch for my chimney or my shingles here. I don't need to. I just simply don't need to. I also understand that there isn't shingles shown on here. You don't have to, but this is just for realism. You would have shingles on this. So anyway, let's keep going. There are 4 windows on this side. All we need to do is draw the windows and we're good. An awesome thing that we also can find is that they're all A-size windows. And wouldn't you know it, we already have A-size windows drawn. So it is literally going to be a case of drawing them or putting them in place where they need to be and calling it a day. I'm going to do a ray from the top of my doorway here. Again, my top of my doorway is this line right here because this is my actual door panel. And this is my molding. So I don't want to do from that on top part. I also want to point out that earlier in the video that I called this like a bracket or something. No, it's just a split line in this kind of like molding that sits. You can imagine this door being like this is the full thickness and this is pushed back like maybe half of an inch, and then this is like a quarter of an inch providing like a bevel or something. It's just a way of representing it. Anyway, I have my heights here. All I need to do is I'm just going to do a ray command from the top left corner from each of these. So I'm just going to double check. Okay, so I know this window, which is on the furthest left face of my south elevation, which is, if you're remembering properly, this guy. That is my A size window. So literally all I need to do is I need to go to my elevation from before, grab it, copy it from this point, and then literally just paste it here, 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 and here. Delete my guidelines, use a hatch command, put a hatch in there, match properties from my siding from before, grab it again, set origin, bottom left corner. Couple last minute things. Honestly, no, there's no dimensions even on this. We're good. This is all you need to do. Wonderful. Now, here is the thing. We need to put this on a sheet, and I'm going to show you how, because it's different from when we did these other guys, because otherwise you could basically just use the same sheet from before. Like if we're remembering from before, and for example, this, I'm going to turn off my keyboard because we don't need it anymore. It might just be in the way. But for example, like for milestone 7, I can go in here and just set this to be a quarter inch equals a foot. And this is what your submission for milestone 7 looked like. And milestone 8, technically. Milestone 9 is going to look a little different. So what we're going to do is, the first thing, I'm going to change this to milestone numero 9, I believe. My Spanish is terrible. My scale is a quarter inch equals a foot, so I'm going to change this to a 4. I would set my current day. I'm not really going to worry about it. Browning residence, my name, whatever. This is fine for that tag. What I will do, however, is I am going to unlock. Zoom in. I'm going to unlock my view. Double click out of it so I'm not in it anymore. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to drag it up to about there. I will then, for my copy command, on the viewport itself, have my F8 on and make a duplicate of this on the sheet. I will then go to my upper viewport and just drag this guy in view like so. I need to make sure that I'm in quarter inch equals a foot and make sure that I lock it after it's in place, just like so. Now I can double click into this guy. I'll drag the same guy into view again, but then I'll pull it to the right because I know this guy's right here. Perfect. What I will do, however, is I'm going to just scroll in. I'm going to do a ray command. I am not activated in any view. I'm in the paper space. I'm going to do a ray from the top of my ridge vent. Go down here. Activate my view. I just realized I just zoomed in, of course. Now it looks off. What I will do is I'm just going to change this to a quarter inch equals a foot again. And here's the actual. I'm gonna set this a quarter inch equals a foot. I'm gonna move it into view and I'm gonna lock it. I'm then just gonna bring my viewport walls or the sides of my viewport in because I don't need all this extra like the empty space. I'll do the same thing on the top. This isn't a requirement, but good to do. What I will do then is I'm just gonna grab this viewport and do a move command from this point to here. And now these are both lined up perfectly on the sheet. If I was to do a print command, and of course it's just telling me this fun chunk here. There are some settings you need to change in here. Nothing crazy. Again, I just want to make sure that we're printing this to either Microsoft Printed PDF or Adobe PDF. Adobe PDF is going to be your best bet. Making sure this is ArchD layout 1:1 monochrome. And then you can go to preview. This is what the sheet will look like. However, we're not done, much to some people's dismay. There's one last thing we need to do before we can actually save this and submit it. All that, we'll close this. I want to talk about the Design Center again. So again, I'm going to go to, I can go to my View tab. Yep. I can go to my View tab, and then this option right here is the Design Center. Alternatively, you can type DC. I have it like overlaid with. I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see what I'm doing. Like so. I'm going to go to the Home, and we're going to talk about a different section of the Design Center here. I'm going to go to ENUS, but instead of clicking on Design Center like we have been, I'm going to go to Dynamic Blocks. Now from here we can see we have a whole series of additional things here. Annotation Imperial and Metric, Architectural Imperial and Metric. We have Imperial and Metric for each of them. So we have Annotation, Architectural, Civil, Electrical, Mechanical, Multi-Leader, Structural, again, and Structural again. Yeah, there we go. Oops, sorry about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go Architectural Imperial. Remember, Imperial is foot and inch, Metric is kilometers, meters, centimeters, millimeters, all that. Meters. Double click on here, then go to Blocks. Now we have a bunch of options in here. What I'm going to select, excuse me, is I am going to do Drawing Title Imperial. I'm going to unzoom in. I'm going to click and drag this into view here. Just like so. I'll close my drawing. I'm going to close that. Now, this view. This is A. I'm going to move this. This is fine here. We can also tell that the text on here is a little tall, but I'm not too worried about it. I could always change it, but I'm not going to really about it. But however, I want to talk about this. When you double click on this, it's not going to be a regular text editor like we have been seeing before. I'm not requiring you to draw this. I'm going to zoom in again so we can see this. I'll also go over this in class. So we have our VP scale, our viewport scale. This is at 1/4 inch equals a foot, so I need to change this. So I just click on this once and I can change what's down here. Scale, delete this, 1/4 of an inch. Oops, 1/4 of an inch. You can also see it editing in real time. Equals 1 foot, 0 inches. That's what we want it to say. Our view name, this guy is our east elevation. And our view number is 1. Now, one additional thing, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to drag this line out a bit more. Move it up a little bit. What I'll do from here is I'm going to do a copy command. And I want to make sure I have my ortho on. I'm going to drag it right down. It doesn't have to be on the bottom of your viewport. It can be within it. But I'm going to do it on the bottom. I'm also noticing some oddities in here. There we go. But that's fine. I said a regenerate command. Now this guy, I'll double click on it. What I'm going to do, all I need to do, my scale is already set. I'm going to change this from east elevation to west elevation. And my view number is going to be 2. And there you have it. From here, you can go back to print. I didn't save it as the layout. Again, Adobe PDF, ArchD, layout. What you can always do is you can just click apply to layout and it'll save it as a setting here. Obviously, I'm going to preview it. And now this is what I'm looking for. I can see my text here for my Cricut and my rake board, 5/12, all of this. In reality, we would scoot this up a little bit, but I'm not too worried about it. But this looks exactly how I want it to look. Same thing with this lower guy. So, perfect. Final step is to click print. Right over here, click OK. I'm not going to. And it's going to actually make the PDF. And then you submit this on Canvas. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.